let me read what Rav Zuriel says about Yom Yerushalayim. Very important words, very quick. He gives a little bit of the history, and he describes about the great miracles of Yom Yerushalayim, and he concludes, Im came, lo rak shera'ui lomar halel o shira hereth b'mei hanisim v'shichur Yerushalayim. There, if so, it is not only proper to say the Hallel or some other song, Shira, holy song to God, for the miracles, no, on these days of miracles and the liberation of Jerusalem. Eliyesh pigam ruchani b'misha eno nohei kain. Okay, there's some sort of pigam ruchani, some sort of moral failing, okay, or a spiritual failing for one who does not practice that. I remember when this dawned on me, also independent of reading this from Zuriel, the Baal Musar around here. I'd gone through a stage of like depression and also not feeling God at all. Everything I was thinking and saying was God out of the picture, not understanding Hashgacha at all, not even Hashgacha Pratis. So that was a bad time. And then I realized, oh yeah, God. You know, it's like they told you Corona happened. It's like there was a bumper sticker. God says, okay, now you have free time. You know, you want to finally, you know, meditate on something, get in touch with your heart. Vashevosa elu avecha is a synonym for repentance, returning to one's heart. So I thought about it and I said, yeah, anybody who doesn't see the hand of God in history cannot say, yes, God did this, and therefore we have to thank him for it, and it was good at the time, and we're busy squandering it. Then it shows that they have a pagam ruchani. Bali Musar, I know Rabbanim who have, you know, they're very in touch with regards to, you know, the usual Musar Svarim and Hashkafa and all that. When it comes to just understanding God did great things, we sort of blew it, but this is all the act of God, and we have to thank him for it. They're totally disconnected. They'll say things that are relevant, like secular commanders of the army, things like that, Zionists. Okay, but that doesn't mean God didn't do this to save the Jewish people. Yeah, very important. Right? So he's going to then prove his point. But the point was, like Rav Zuriel said, it's a pigam ruchani for those who do not see the hand of God in what happened and the miracles, and therefore we have to thank him. But the problem is the tendency today, and not just among the religious, there are whole sectors of religious society for whom Yom Yerushalayim doesn't exist. There's some guys here in yeshiva. That's probably a yeshiva thing. You know, I think there's always a few Haredi guys in the basement who are like, Yom Yerushalayim, what's that? You know, I grew up with that. I'm not doing anything. There's nothing to mark the day. We got a Sudas mitzvah here, thank God. But the fellow who was generous enough to bring our Suda yesterday was doing like I used to do in yeshiva, because, for example, in New York, Yom Ha'atzmaut wasn't officially on the calendar, right? Yeshiva didn't have it. So what I make sure to do on Yom Ha'atzmaut, make a siyum, right? It's still a Sudas mitzvah. I say Sudas mitzvah, Yom Ha'atzmaut. They'd say like, oh, Yom Ha'atzmaut. But there's a siyum on the Masechta, so now it's, you know, now it's legitimate, and bring blue and white cookies or something like that. So there's something, you know, to show for it. But without it, you know, it would be it would be a nothing. So it's not just among the religious that basically they've always been trying to undo everything we achieved and everything made possible by the 6-Day War. That's what's going on right now. You guys know about the 6-Day War, right? Yeah. So now everything, Oslo especially, but now it's just increasing. Undo everything that was achieved by the 6-Day War. The Jewish people saved from annihilation. Now it's trying to slowly annihilate the Jews. The Jewish people acquired more territory, especially the most important territory. Now we're trying to strip away territory from the Jewish people, right? The Jewish people had a chance to rebuild the temple. Now it's do as much as you can to make sure they don't have the temple. Okay? Defeat the enemy. Now it's do not defeat the enemy. At all costs, make sure the Jewish people do not defeat the enemy. Then it was very quick military victory, 6 days. Wow, it's a miracle. How long? This war is 8 months old now, right? Oh, boy. Yeah, 8 months. How much do they have to show for it? I'm sure a lot. You have a lot to show for it.
20,000 Hamas.
That's it. But that's very few. That's not very much, considering they're all hiding among them. So, you know, and how does war work? Do you ever, they say there's battalions of Hamasniks there. Does Hamas have uniform, anything? Even just everybody wearing the same headband? Probably not, right? Is there any place where you could say, like, there are 100 of them or whatever division they are lined up or in their base or something like that, of which you are aware with their commander and all that? So, and you can't just take a cannon and start shooting at them?
That's what they're trying to do. It's using tunnels.
Okay, so they're all hiding in the tunnels.
They're all hiding in the ground.
And you can't just like pump poison gas into one opening from the tunnel that you guys have discovered. Just they were talking about flooding the tunnels. I think that was Bubba Misa back in the day.
No, they have to.
So they did that, and they still have a lot more to flood.
What came of it, but it was called Project Shilo.
And are they still doing it?
I don't know. That's in the north. I was like at the very beginning of the war.
Well, I would think. Okay,
we've just been blowing up tunnels.
Okay.
From the Egyptian.
Based, okay, fine. Either way, I hope it goes good, but it's going really slow. So basically, what's going on now? Understand this: we are trying to undo. By we, I mean the Jewish people as a whole, because we are all one unit, and we are being basically we're like an octopus. There's some hands want to go this way. There's one hand the octopus is pulling us toward redemption, pulling us back toward the temple. And one hand is pulling the exact opposites. And other hands are just pulling us in other directions. If the octopus was pulling with all different hands, and each hand had its own brain. That's the Jewish people right now, right? And which way are we generally going? In the wrong direction. Why? Because we're also being pushed by everybody else, the currents of the world, the nations. They're pushing us away from everything that could have been achieved with the 6-Day War. So I wanted to say that never again. I remember I grew up with Holocaust survivors. They have the fist and the yellow star, which looks like the Kahana symbol, by the way. A lot of the never agains look Kahanist almost. But besides that, never again now means never let the Jews win again. Okay, and basically that's what the High Commander is saying. We will not become occupiers. They've been told. They've basically accepted the line that the Israelis are occupiers of the foreign people and oppressors. So they just keep they keep well, in Hebrew they say lahatzir. They keep affirming this. We have no intention to occupy a country or take territory, anything like that, right? Or drive out anybody. Well, shkoyach, so that's why you're going to lose. And they also take God out of the picture. That's the most important thing. If the Jewish people who ostensibly pray to God 3 times a day and want to love Him, right? They say it in Shema. They unify His name, and then they review the fact that they have a commandment to learn to love God, right? Well, yet they take Him completely out of the picture. They forget His commandments. They forget His role in history. The Jewish people who do not acknowledge Yom Yerushalayim, and we've discussed this in years past.